Coming up on Mountain News this morning, it's been more than 18 years since Flight 5191 took off and crashed, killing 49 people. And officials are speaking up about diagnosing concussions during high school sports as the football season kicks off.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning, I'm Madison Carmouche. Thank you for joining us dark and early what day is it? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday morning. See, that's what kind of morning I'm having. Let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Drawbridge for a look at your forecast.
And that's because somebody's got a shorter week. In the meantime, for a great thing, First Alert action continues here on WYMT today, tomorrow, through Friday. And we know the fire drill with the heat and humidity. It's not breaking until we get into the Labor Day holiday weekend. And outside our door right now, it is 64. Not bad regarding visibility outside our door, but just south of Hazard as you make your way into Harlan, we are running into some banks of fog. So keep that in mind, at least at some of the reporting stations right now. 64 again outside our door, 68 your way at Harlan, 73 though. One of the hot spots being Moorhead. High pressure, same story. Not much really going on besides some low clouds and fog that are developing. We'll skip the future view and check out the planner for the next 12 hours to be able to show you that any low clouds and fog will burn off as we make our way into the 8 o'clock hour. Lots of sunshine and a high this afternoon. We're going to sizzle again, up to 94. More about the ARH First Alert 7-day forecast on this Wednesday morning, coming up in a few moments. Madison?
All right, Tim, thank you. Yesterday was a sad day of remembrance at Bluegrass Airport in Lexington. More than 18 years ago, the pilot of Comair Flight 5191 took off on the wrong runway and crashed, killing 49 people on board. The Arboretum, located across from Kroger Field in Lexington, is host to a 17-foot-tall memorial sculpture that honors all 49 victims on board. A couple who walked by the sculpture talked about the anniversary.
I remember I was working up at UK Hospital and remember a lot of chaos and kind of preparing for what could be a really significant casualty event, and it didn't end up. It was tragic that we didn't have as much work to be able to do.
Co-pilot Jim Polhink, who was piloting the plane at the time of the crash, was the only survivor. The crash caused Bluegrass Airport to make changes so short runways no longer intersect with longer runways. The CDC started the Heads Up campaign to help doctors, school professionals, and athletic trainers diagnose and manage concussions. Just last week, a West Virginia football player died after suffering a head injury during practice. Kelsey Soto talked with experts about safety on the field.
For every play and every hit, each blow to the brain can be dangerous.
If a player isn't properly taught at an early age, don't lead with your head. See what you tackle, right? Those are simple phrases that go a really long way.
Dr. Gribble is an athletic trainer and professor at UK. He says over the last few decades, major advances in technology have been making a difference out on the field.
There's a very significant consequence of what's called second impact syndrome. Returning an athlete when they're still in an inflammatory recovery stage on the brain, and they could sustain a second impact, is associated with really high rates of very serious consequences and a high rate of fatalities.
8th grader Cohen Craddock lost consciousness on the football field after being tackled during practice. His father tells our CBS affiliate in Charleston, West Virginia, he suffered severe brain swelling and died the following day from head trauma.
Very hard to wrap your head around. You can't imagine, that with head protection, you can't imagine that type of injury occurring. I understand concussions, I understand headaches, but to the point that your brain swells and it takes you off the earth, that's hard to fathom.
All the preparation can be in place. Everything could be perfectly prepared to avoid injury, but injuries are still going to happen. The nasty injuries, the unfortunate consequences of a contact sport.
Dr. Gribble says preseason cognitive screenings can help garner a baseline that'll also help medical professionals track athletes throughout the season.
Things like memory tests, recall tests, short-term memory tests, as well as coupling that with balance tests, maybe some other functional movements.
Congressman Hal Rogers visited the mountains yesterday, discussing potential plans and providing an update from Washington. The dean of the House spoke at the Big Sandy Area Development District, discussing topics from floods to economic development, reiterating the hopes to fund more potential projects and upgrades with nearly $150 million in funding requested in the 2025 budget. Rogers says it is all about making sure the major issues are addressed.
We're maintaining an even keel as we continue our work to recruit more industry and jobs to our region, control the flooding that destroys us every year, it seems, and perfecting our homeland security.
Those requested funds will now hit the floor of the House, where Rogers hopes to see them approved at the end of September. Thanks for getting your day started with us here on Mountain News this morning. When we return, an Appalachian nonprofit is celebrating 60 years of serving the community.
Serving up heat and humidity again today. You can always tell it's going to be a warm day when some of the cities are still running in the 70s and 80s at 5 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. How hot? We'll let you know. Your first alert 7-day forecast coming up right after this.